Welcome to the Richard Lloyd USA YouTube channel. I'm Richard Lloyd. If you've recently updated your DD-WRT and can no longer update to the next firmware version, this video is for you. It's a known bug and I've got the fix, and it's a pretty straightforward fix. It should be quite simple. I'll walk you through it and then you'll be up and running into the next or latest greatest version of DD-WRT and putting this chapter behind you. It happened to me too. It also happened to one of my viewers, one of you. He mentioned it right here. His name is HD Mungaret, and he really was kind of disheartened by the 7350, MR7350. He thought it was buggy hardware. Well, the hardware is just fine. It's perfectly reliable, beautiful machine, the Linksys MR7350. It was the DD-WRT firmware. Unfortunately, they had the same bug in 3 different versions in a row. He learned that you could restore the stock firmware to the router, and then you could flash the next version up and off you went to the races. But if you did that, let's say you got the first one that didn't work, so you took it down, took it to the next one, it wouldn't work either. Took it down to stock again, took it to the next one, and it wouldn't update at all. I could understand your frustration 100%. Now, after those 3 versions were done, from then on, there's been another 3, and they work perfectly fine, just like they should. You go to firmware, you update, off you go, right? But those 3 didn't. And if you're stuck, this is the solution for you. I love this router, and I was kind of disheartened by HD Mungaret because he's basically giving it up on the MR7350, which is an excellent router. And he has another excellent router, the EA7500 version 2. But that one only runs OpenWRT. The MR7350 runs OpenWRT and DD-WRT. And it is an excellent router when it's doing it very fast. So thank you, sir. This video has been prompted by your question or your comment. So again, comment section below, give me a like, and if you like my stuff, subscribe to the channel. Then you can see my stuff every time I put it up. One thing for sure, use Ethernet to do this. If you don't have an Ethernet adapter in your computer, you can buy one for $10 on Amazon. Again, these will be in the video description below. You can get exactly the same ones I use. I love these. They work great. They're coming USB-A, and they're both gigabit Ethernet adapters, and they're $10. This was USB-A and C, so it's a combo. You can get them dedicated C or dedicated A, or, like I said here, a combo. Get yourself one of those. Do not do this over Wi-Fi. Sure way to break your router. You're taking a chance for sure. So let's go here. We're at the router 192.168.1.1. Let's go to administration. Well, actually, let's go to my webpage first. My webpage shows why this happened. There we are. You see that U-boot flash logic is normally, when you flash, it checks, it says, okay, which partition are we on, 1 or 2? Well, if we're on 1, flash partition 2. So there's 2 partitions on these routers. It flashes, if it's on 1, it flashes the alternate partition. And then when it reboots, it goes to that, you reboot to that partition, right? If it's on 2, it flashes 1. And then when you reboot, it reboots to partition 1, and now you've got the new firmware running, and you got a backup on the other partition just waiting for you in case there's a problem. Now, in these routers, if you ever get messed up and cannot boot, if you power cycle the power switch off and back on for 12 seconds, off again, back on for 12 seconds, off again, back on for 12 seconds, and then off, you will... The router will say, I failed 3 times. I'm switching the partitions from this one to that one, or from that one to this one, right? So that is the Hail Mary on this router if you can't get it to switch at all. So the power switch can do it for you. Follow that procedure. Remember, off, on 12 seconds, 3 times, off, and then boot it normally. You're off to the races on the second partition. But what was happening here with this one was these 3 firmware versions, the 65291, 65498, and 65574, is that they weren't switching. They were flashing just fine. And my serial connection on the router, when I booted it up, I could see that and here's the serial connection here. I could see that it was booting and flashing just fine. It did exactly what it was supposed to do when it flashed. And when it booted, I was back to square one again. I'm going, okay, that's weird. I finally figured out that it wasn't switching over, but that's not hard to do, and here's how you do it. So let's go. All right, so I got 655 6574, which is the last version that was buggy. But no matter which one you have, it'll work. Also, yeah, it also happened on my MX5300 too. So it's not just happening to the MR7350, it's happening to a lot of routers. So if you have this problem and you have a U-boot with 2 partitions, follow this procedure. You'll probably be out of the woods and back on happy street with the latest firmware. So here we're going to go to the administration tab, and then here we could just go and do a firmware upgrade, but it won't work. So what we're going to do is go here to commands, and on my web page, again, I'll be pinning that on the first comment. Remember, comments in the comment section, really appreciate those. You can see I make videos from your comments, and I appreciate that too. That was awesome. So go to my website, pinned in the comment section. Right here is, well, there's a description of what's going on and everything else, but right here are the commands you're going to need. And the first one is the one that prints the current set boot partition. All right, so what we need to find out is, number one, here, go to commands, drop it in there, hit paste, right? We need to find out what partition it's currently booting so we know what to do afterwards. So let's go. All right, and you can see the output here says 1. That means that it's set to 1. This right now has booted off the first partition, right? Important because we got to, well, I'll show you what. Let's go do the firmware upgrade here. And what we're going to do is take the next version, which works, right? Which is the 65639. I could go all the way to 774, but I want to show you a few things. So I'm taking the next one. So DD-WRT, web flash bin, open, and upgrade. Now this is going to be flashing that on partition 2, right? Because we're on 1. So that part works, okay? So, and I'll show you that here on my serial connection. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if I can connect. Yeah, there it is, flashing, as you can see. Flash, it even says flash. So it's flashing, no problem. That's not the problem. Problem is, it doesn't switch from partition 1. It says boot partition is 1. Let's see what it is when it's done, right? And what's happening is exactly what I show here in my diagram. It flashes partition 2, no problem, but then it boots back to 1. So you never actually leave the partition that has the bug in it. So you keep trying, and I can understand the frustration for sure, especially after 3 separate firmwares had the same problem. But again, you can test it, and this is the test right now. And I will make a video on in the future on how to crack this router open and put a serial connection on it. It's not like, actually the hardest part is taking the plastic cover off this router. I don't know, Linksys has figured out how to really put a plastic cover on a router super tight. So that was, for me, the hardest part. Then you have to get some pins soldered to the motherboard, or you could actually solder the wires directly to the motherboard. But I'll show you that in that video. Here we should be back again. Let's try again. Yeah, we're back. So let's go to administration here, and then commands. And then you'll notice, I'll hit that command. Again, they're all here on my webpage, and it's labeled as to what they do. Let's see what partition we were on. We were on 1 before. Let's run that command. And we're still on 1. And notice that did not change. But we did flash the second partition. So all we need to do is tell the router, hey, go to the second partition, and off we go. Now, I could use the power button to do that, but you don't need to. It's much simpler and definitely more accurate. You're guaranteed it's going to happen. So I'm going to copy that command here, the one that says sets partition to 2. That's what we need to do. If yours is set to 1, then copy the above command that sets it to, actually, if yours is set to 2, then you want to set the boot partition now that you put the good one in to the alternate, which would be 1. A lot going on here. Let's go. I'm going to put that in, set boot partition for 2. Run command. It doesn't say anything. It's not chatty at all. That's the thing about Linux. If it succeeds, and if you don't get any response, usually that's a good thing. It means it succeeded. So let's go. We can verify that by using the current, print the current set partition command. Just drop it in there again. Okay, run commands. And now you can see it's set to 2. right? That's how you set it. And here we're going to hit, we're going to go to management, choose reboot the router. There we go. And over here on my serial, you should see lots of chatter. And there it is. Now we're not flashing anything. It's just rebooting, but it's rebooting into the right partition with the 539, I believe it was. Let's take a look. Over here on, and by the way, this is beta firmware. And the fact that this happened 3 times, that's really unusual, but it happens. It's beta. That means it's under testing. And somehow it got through. Like I said, and it also did it to my MX5300, which is a completely different router. So it's still Linksys, but again, it's nothing to do with the hardware itself. It's just buggy firmware. And yeah, 5639. There's 65727 as well, and 774 is the latest. So let's go back. Let's see if we're there yet. All right, I think we're there. Let's do a refresh. And there you go. If we go to status, you see it says 65639. Now, we're not done yet. Because remember, right? Remember, this has 2 partitions. There's another partition on here. And that other partition has the 554. We need to get rid of that. And the way you get rid of it is either to upgrade to the next version, which we will do, or upgrade to the same version we're in right now. It should switch over to partition, to the alternate partition, which I believe will be 1 after that. Right now we should be on 2. So let's go to the administration, hit the commands, drop that in there, see where we are. And we are on 2. So we'll do a firmware upgrade to 774, which is the latest right here. There we go. And DD-WRT, open it up, hit the upgrade button, and it should switch over to 1 now on the next boot. So let's do it. I spent a lot of time trying to figure this one out because it was weird. And the forums weren't too helpful. They were saying a lot of stuff that wasn't accurate, which, you know, isn't unusual. But then again, the serial connection to the motherboard tells me exactly what's going on. So that's when I caught it. I said, oh, okay. I see what the problem is. And I can stop this at boot and do that same command, and it will tell me what partition it's booting to. And I did that. And it said, oh. So here it says boot partition 2, but that's just what it flashed. So where it was when it flashed. That doesn't say anything. That's not the environment setting. So wait for that to come up. See that right there? Stop, right? So if you're quick enough, you can stop it there and change it. But again, I'll make a video on how to set up a serial connection to this router. And I will do that on probably a lot of routers because it's really, really useful when you're experimenting with this stuff to be able to see the command line scrolling through like this, because you might be locked out from, Wi-Fi or from Ethernet or whatever. But if this doesn't work, well, then you're in trouble, right? There's still other ways to get around it, but all right, so we should more or less be there, I believe. Let's see. And there you go, 65774, right? So it's working. Now, remember, there's an alternate partition with the previous one on there, and you can just switch it if you want. It's really easy. Go to administration, and over here, choose that same command. First let's find out which one we're on, which should be 1, I believe, right? Here we go. Run commands. Yeah, 1. So you can change it, and then you'll be on the alternate firmware version. But if you flash it twice, you'll have the same firmware version on both. Now, that's kind of dangerous because if you have a buggy one and you don't know it yet, you don't have an alternative to go back to. So, here I'll just show you that you can go back, but it's up to you how you handle it, right? And again, on my webpage, pinned on the first comment down below, will be a link to all this information. And we're on 1, so let's set it to 2. Here we go. We run the command, and then we reboot the router. Management, reboot. Okay, once again, I want to thank HD Mungarrett for the comment, and I hope I I brought you back into the fold for DD-WRT and the MR7350. And again, if you want to use OpenWRT on the MR7350, it works just fine too. This is not, the issue here is not the hardware. It was just 3 bad versions of DD-WRT, which is highly unusual, by the way. It's the first time I've ever seen it, actually. So I don't know what was going on there. I have no idea. But regardless, the next 3 versions are perfectly fine. So skip those 3 right here. And anything before it worked fine too. So again, but if you want to be safe, just keep going. There'll be more new versions on and on and on. It's beautiful how they do that. And that's one of the things I love about DD-WRT. There's always a new firmware to fix something or to give you some new features. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, again, you can see now we're back to 65639, right? And like I said, no big deal. If you want to go back to the other one, you can either put the command in again to switch it to the partition 2 or just reflash it and it will go to partition 2 anyway. All right, that's it for my video. Hopefully that helped you out in some way. If it did, give me a like at the bottom. If you like my content, again, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. As part of that process, hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified every time I put up a new video. Again, the comments are very important. Put your comments, questions, suggestions, whatever you got to say to me down in the comment section below. I appreciate that greatly. Once again, and like always, take care of yourself, take care of others, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you on the next video.